Hello, how you doing?
Hi.
Nice to meet you, Odaro.
Andreas, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Andrea. You can take a seat right here. Hello, what brought you in today?
Well, I don't know. I've never been to a financial counselor before, so this whole process is pretty new to me.
Yeah.
And I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. Well, before we start and just talk about some different financial situations, is it okay if I take notes? Is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All right. Well, first, how's your day been? Like, just tell me, like, what brought you in today? Like, how are you feeling? Are you like a little frustrated, sad, happy? Like, just what are your emotions like today?
Well, I'm in a pretty good mood today, so this should be a nice session.
Yeah.
But I've been very nervous about the way my finances are looking.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, I've been going through some things this past year that usually I wouldn't feel comfortable talking about.
Yeah.
But, I feel like this is a safer space than other situations, so I feel more ready.
Yeah. Well, Andrea, I would just love to tell you, I really appreciate the fact that you've come in today. This is a huge step that you're taking, honestly, just to come and receive some advice and just financial counseling. So I'm extremely excited just to help you and aid you with some of these things. So what are some specific worries? Because like you said, you're a little nervous and you've been going through some things this year. So if it's okay for me to ask, like, what are some of those specific things that you feel are going on?
Well, I lived with my mother, and we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment, so she had 1 bedroom and I had the other. But my mother had Alzheimer's, so it was such a difficult situation, and I didn't know how or what to do, and I couldn't afford to put her in, a facility that could help her. And so I couldn't really afford, because I'm a 911 operator.
Okay.
And so I make around $60,000 a year.
Okay.
And so I couldn't really afford to, have a mother that's ill and a 2-bedroom in Dallas. So, I had to pull out a couple loans to pay for the medical bills for myself and for her. Sometimes you get sick and you can't help it. So, and then I had to pay for my apartment. But, I could afford my apartment through my job, and, they paid for some of my living as well. But my mother actually passed away this past year.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
I've learned to cope with it more. I'm actually seeing a therapist about it. So this isn't the first time I've been in a session like this, but money is such a difficult topic that I don't always feel comfortable discussing it. And so she passed away, and I had to get rid of a lot of the stuff in the 2nd bedroom. And then a month ago I got engaged, and so it's just been a pretty hectic ride for me recently. A lot of emotions, good and bad.
Yeah, so just to clarify, first off, I just want to say I'm so sorry that happened, just with your mother. I know that must be really hard and difficult. So you talked about loans and medical bills, and also you got engaged within the last month. So just kind of so I can understand a little bit more, how much loans do you have, and if you know the interest rates that are on those loans, and kind of just like the situation that's going on there financially with that.
I think I'm about $1,200 to $300 in medical debt.
So about $1,200. You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
For medication specifically and other needs. We did hire a live-in assistant through my job, and that was free, I guess. Well, not really free because I paid for it through my paycheck.
Yeah.
That's what they were telling me. I don't know if that's 100% accurate. I might have you look at my paychecks to make sure people aren't like scamming me.
Yeah, we hope not.
And my mom did have an episode and have to be rushed to the emergency room. And so I don't know the exact amount of that. Okay. But I can let you know.
Okay.
Yeah. that's probably one of the bigger ones. She wasn't feeling exactly the greatest, and I thought the only people that could help is the hospital.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. So in regards to that, so you've told me that you have about $1,200 in debt for medication, and with the hospital, you don't know necessarily how much that costs. So just to help both of us, I'll send you an email after we're done meeting, just to kind of follow up, and I'll give you a list of the things that we talked about. But on the email, I'll specifically just remind you, just give you a little bit of a reminder to try to get some information on that, and I'll send you an email about a week later before we meet again if you want to set up another meeting, just so that we can have that information and honestly start taking care of that. If that's something that you want to do, how do you feel about having these loans? Like, how does that make you feel? Does it stress you out having this amount of money in loans, or how do you feel about that?
Yeah, it's pretty stressful because I'm planning my wedding and I don't know. I also had to pull out loans for funeral costs and burial, and that roughly added up to $12,000. And I just, this wedding is supposed to be like a big deal for me, but my husband's a firefighter, and so he only makes around $57,000, and so both of us combined make a pretty decent pay, but I want an extravagant wedding. I don't want something that's like, oh, people just come to it and then leave.
Yeah.
And so, I want people to have a good time and enjoy. So things like an open bar and, a nice reception hall. And I want my reception connected to the actual ceremony and things like that. And I know that stuff adds up, but that's
So
that's a big goal for me.
Yeah. So you said that you got engaged a month ago. Just really quick, how long have you and your fiance been dating? What's his name?
Buck.
Buck?
His name's Buck.
Awesome. Yeah. Where's Buck from?
Buck is actually from LA.
LA.
So he moved here from LA, and he's enjoying Texas more than California.
I don't blame him. Those taxes will catch up to you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So tell me, how much money are you guys planning on spending for the wedding, and honestly, how long are you guys planning for this engagement to be? Because you said that y'all got engaged about a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you say y'all were dating for again?
Well, we were dating before that for... Okay. We were kind of on and off.
Okay.
But we've been together 9 months solid.
Okay.
After my mother passed away, actually, we were talking and we were really great friends, but I decided that I needed to live my life because, living with someone that is ill, sometimes you forget yourself.
Yeah.
And so I decided that I wanted to go take a trip. And so I took 2 months off work. Don't worry, I had leave racked up, so it was all paid. So I had money coming in, but I did charge my credit card during those trips. And so I went to Rome, I went to Zagreb, I went to different parts of Germany and Italy. And honestly, it was the most exhilarating and best time in my life. And I want to travel more, and I feel like that should be one of my bigger priorities. Because I feel like I don't spend time thinking about myself. I spend time thinking about others, and I would love to go with my fiance Buck to different places in Europe and especially Asia, Thailand. I went to Thailand as well. Did I tell you?
No, you did not.
I got to ride an elephant for the first time.
That's
They're
so
like my
awesome.
favorite animal.
Yeah.
I'll have to send you pictures.
I
It was
would
an
love
amazing
that.
trip.
That sounds so awesome. I would love to do something like that myself. That sounds really cool. Yeah, so, well, first off, thank you for sharing that with me. That sounds like a really cool experience. I think I've always wanted to go travel the world myself. And I would love to give you some more guidance and just advice about setting up more trips like that. Those are honestly things that we'll never forget. So with that, as you kind of spoke about, you took out some credit cards to fund the trip. So how much did you end up taking out, or how much did you end up putting on those credit cards?
I think it was Okay, so Rome probably 1,000,
Okay.
and then the rest of my trip, probably 900. So 1,900 ish.
Okay, so around 2,000.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would say roughly. I've been paying minimum payments, so I haven't just blown it off completely. But I noticed that, it's kind of increasing. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And so credit cards usually are, a lot of times, are really aggressive, So that's something that whenever we meet again, if we set up another meeting, that is something that we can go more in depth about, of how we can plan to start taking care of these taking care of some of this credit card debt a little bit more aggressively. So a couple more things just in regards to just marriage and you and Buck. So you said that Buck makes $57,000 a year, and you guys are getting married. So first, in regards, how much money do you want to spend on this wedding?
I was thinking
$25,000.
Yeah.
Okay. And how and who would be funding this wedding?
It would be me.
Okay, it would be you.
Yeah.
Okay.
My father passed away a little bit before my mother, so they didn't really have much to leave me.
Mm-hmm. And by any means, well, I guess a question I would actually ask you instead is, have you and Buck ever talked about finances together? What does that look like for you guys?
We've never talked about finances together.
Mm-hmm.
He takes me on wonderful trips.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've done a hot air balloon over the city, carriage rides throughout Dallas and other things like that. And so I had no idea how he was paying for this stuff.
Yeah.
And so I've never asked him because I personally love all the attention and the
I bet.
and the trips.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So could you just tell me a little bit about Buck's family background? Like, how did he grow up? Like, do you know if his family's affluent?
Buck's family, so he's a lot younger than me.
Okay.
So I am 32 and he is 24.
Okay.
So there's a big difference. He just got out of the fire academy. He's been working for 2 years. So his family funded majority of school and other things, and so I would say his family is a little more well off than, let's say, my family, but that's not something that's super impressive.
Yeah.
But I know his mother was suffering from the same things my mother was. Not Alzheimer's, but like the spending. My mom was a big spender before she got sick, and his mom's a big spender. So you never know how someone's living. And I don't really talk about finances around them because it's such a hard topic, and I'm only talking about it to you because you make me feel more comfortable.
Well, I'm glad that
situation.
you honestly feel comfortable here. This is really a space that I want you to feel like you can come and honestly bring whatever, and we can talk about it. So with regards to your family, can you tell me a little bit more about your family upbringing and how you guys dealt with money? I know you touched on that your mom spent a lot. So if you feel comfortable enough, would you just tell me what was your upbringing with money, and like how did y'all deal with it in the household, and how does that make you feel now?
So, money in my household. My dad was the biggest saver I have ever met in my life. And my mom was the biggest spender I've ever met in my life. So they kind of counteracted each other. My dad always traveled for a living, so, I never really got to see him as much. And then my mother was always home, so I would get more of her spending side, And so I do spend a lot more. Like, this trip to Rome was just spur of the moment, and so I decided to spend on myself. But I do like nice things, and I do buy nice things for myself. So I bought a car recently as well. But the thing is, it's not really my car, it's Buck's car, but we kind of share it because we bought it like 2 months ago. and it's a BMW, and it was probably like used probably 15,000.
Okay.
And we split the payments on it
Okay.
now, but I think we're gonna combine our stuff, and I was wondering if I could talk to you about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, learning how to merge our accounts and like, you know, become more of a couple. Because now we're kind of just like, we're dating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in college and we're having fun. But
Yeah.
I'm 32 and I can't wait forever, so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think that would be an awesome thing to talk about, just preparing for marriage. What do you think about maybe potentially bringing Buck in for one of the next meetings that we have together?
Yeah,
what does that sound like
that'd
for
be
you?
great.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I would definitely love to do that. So, just talking a little bit more about, I guess, just family background with spending. How do you think that has affected you? Do you think, because you know, you did say that your dad was a penny pincher, but your mom spent a lot. So do you feel that with yourself, like what are some attributes you think that you have with just some of your cash management, just spending in general?
Well, I can save, okay, but I haven't had anything to save for.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this wedding will be a big thing that I need to save for, but I don't know if I can.
Mm-hmm.
Because personally it's, you know, kind of difficult
Yeah.
to save when you want nice things. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So also, what other assets do you have? Like, what other things do you own apart from the car? Do you live in a home? Do you own it? Do you rent it? Are you planning on eventually putting a down payment down with Buck whenever you guys get married?
So I live in a 2-bedroom apartment right now,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to live in it forever,
Mhm.
and I want a 3-bedroom home.
Mhm.
I don't know if kids are in my future, but I've always wanted a 3-bedroom because 3 bedrooms are nice,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
a 1-story 3-bedroom home in Dallas. I want to stay in Dallas,
Mhm.
so I've been looking at homes and, you know, by myself, just kind of searching online on like Zillow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I've gone to multiple open houses, and the houses that I'm looking at are around, you know, 180 to 200,000. But I mean, it would be nice to get like a 2-story 6-bedroom house, but I don't know if I'm gonna have children, so
Okay.
that might be in my future, and I, you know.
Yeah. So once again, in regards to you and Buck getting married, what is the time frame that you guys have again on y'all's wedding?
I mean, I would like to rush it, but I don't think that's realistic. So I would say 7 more months.
Okay.
Because I've been looking at this venue and they have a spot open on the perfect Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's the perfect date. Our names fit perfectly in it. And so I think 7 months is like the key. But it could be sooner. It just kind of depends on, you know, how we feel or if there's a cancellation. Because I'm planning on having a wedding planner. So that kind of goes into how much I thought I would pay for my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So. And it's not going to be a big wedding. It's going to be very small, very personal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Okay, so so just in regards with that, you did tell me you're gonna be paying for this wedding yourself. Will Buck be helping out at all?
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you said 7 months, but we can talk more about this. But I did want to make you aware that we have about $2,000 in just credit card debt, about another $13,000 in medical bills, and $15,000 with your car. So you know, there is a chance that the wedding might have to wait, which we can talk a little bit more about the next time we meet with you and Buck, and because I really do want you to know that I'm here to help you reach your goals. And we can find a way to do those things, honestly. But at the same time, I do want you to be aware of realities of some of these debts that you have that would be really good for us to take care of. What do you think about that?
Well, my wedding is a big priority to me. So I would push all the other stuff back if I could.
Yeah.
Maybe just pay minimum payments like I've
Yeah.
been doing until the wedding's over. But I mean, you're trained and I'm not, so I wouldn't know exactly how to budget myself. But I feel like the wedding is one of the higher priorities, and I feel like that and maybe the car are two of my big priorities. So I feel like that stuff would be first.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, if you woke up tomorrow morning, right, and a miracle had happened, and you didn't have any more debt, and you had all the money in the world, what would be the next 5 things that you would do? Or what would be 5 things that you would do? They don't have to be necessarily things that you have to, well, finances do imply with everything you do in life, but what were the 5 things that you would do? Yeah.
Well, I would go on another trip.
Okay.
And I might visit other parts of Asia.
Okay.
I would buy a house in Dallas. I would probably be a bigger house and hire, a maid and
Yeah.
Other stuff. Living in luxury.
Yeah.
I would also have a more extravagant wedding, a bigger one. Let's see. I might redecorate my house.
Yeah.
That would be fun. And then finally I would pay off all the debts.
Yeah.
But that would be like the last thing I would do if I had unlimited money.
Yeah.
So
Could I ask you why so? Like, why would that be the last thing you would do?
well, it's already a debt. It can't get worse.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's implications sometimes with that, and I definitely get that. Sometimes for me personally, that can almost make you feel overwhelmed, and I kind of like to forget it. Whenever I was in college, I would just keep on swiping until the card declined, It's sometimes hard dealing with that, but a lot of times with your debt, there are interest rates that are on these things, and honestly, you end up having to pay back double sometimes because of the interest that accrues, kind of like your credit card debt, as you were saying, that you've been paying it off, but it seems like it's not really going anywhere. It's because there's interest that has to be paid on some of those things.
I had no idea. Maybe I should put my debts at a higher priority.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it.
Yeah, which all of these things we can definitely talk more about in our next meeting. So just to reiterate and kind of close up the meeting, just with hearing you, and you can tell me if any of these things are wrong. Just from what I've heard from you today, the goals in your life are going on more trips, buying a house, having a wedding with your fiance Buck, the guy that you love, and being able to pay off your debts. Would you say those are some of the main goals that you have in life right now?
Yeah, that's definitely some of the main goals.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, Andre, I would love to help you reach these goals. I would love to meet Buck. I would love to talk to you guys about ways that we can eventually reach these goals. So thank you so much for coming in. I really enjoyed having you. Yeah, thank you so much just for being open and just willing to talk to me about your life, because I understand that can be really difficult sometimes. So, well, I will send you an email, just kind of paraphrasing what we've gone through today. But apart from that, are there any other questions you have for me?
What does your job actually entail? Because financial counseling kind of sounds like therapy. Do you do therapy as well?
No, I'm not necessarily a therapist, but I do have a lot of close colleagues of mine and friends who do therapy. I help people with their financial struggles and kind of helping them understand their money personalities, as we call it in our field, and honestly just dealing with like credit, with credit and debt management and cash management, and and a whole bunch of other stuff. But yeah, it really looks like this. I just meet with people and they're able to talk to me about their lives, really, because finances really affect everything that we do. So does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And could you go further into what a money personality is?
Yeah, so what a money personality is really kind of what it sounds like. It describes who you are and how you almost feel about finances. So some people, kind of like you said, your father was a penny pincher. So that would almost be his money personality. I would understand that he's very he likes to save and he does not like to spend a lot of money. But your mom, you said she likes to spend a lot, and we would kind of go into why she likes to spend. Is it so that she can have the nicest thing for herself internally, or is it because she she wants people to know that she has it,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of different sectors into money personalities.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. A lot more sense.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming in, Andrea.
Thank you for having
See
me.
you later.